Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. That was said by Marcus Garvey, a leader whose great cause was liberation. And while these days I don't really have a separation between mind and body, to me they're the same thing, but I do agree with the basic principle of what he's talking about, no matter how you describe it. He's talking about, or how I would say it at least, is that you start with yourself, and then then the external world becomes a different thing because you've become a different thing. And the way that you become different is by your beliefs, your paradigm, your perception and filter, the way that you're looking at the world, the way that you name things, the way that you frame things. And particularly as it relates to liberation, you have to know that you're free. You have to know that first. You cannot buy into any lies that have been told. And I'm not even saying that they're malicious lies, although some of them are. They're just lies that have been around for a very long time, for thousands of years, of how mankind is not free in one way or another, some even more so than others. But you can't believe it. You have to claim what's yours, which is your self-determination, your responsibility, your freedom and liberation, your identity of who you are. You do all that. You decide what's meaningful in the world. And to me, I love embracing the world, even with all the good, bad, and ugly, because I just think it's endlessly fascinating, and because I like being that person. It's the best place for me to just keep love. Not that I'm good at it, but that's the way I want to look at the world. But so I'll tell you just one little story. So when I was first married, I went very quickly from being a child in my parents' home, which I had a lot of rules, and then I got married very quickly. And all of a sudden I was in charge of my own rules, and it was very difficult for me to change my mind. I mean, there was different things going on that I didn't always know what I should be doing, and I kept referring back to my parents' rules about what I should be doing, which is, now that I look back, very odd. But I didn't know anything else. And it was something very simple. We had a little apartment, and I just basically was there all day. It took me half an hour in the morning to clean the house. My husband was gone all day at work. I didn't have children yet. We didn't have a phone or a TV. I didn't have friends. I didn't have neighbors. We were out in the boonies. And I just stood there all day, and I read, but I could only read for half a day, not a whole day, you know. I was absolutely bored out of my mind, and I just felt like I had to stay there. And there was a town about 20 minutes away, a 20-minute drive, that had more things. Like, I got in my idea that maybe I could drive to the next town and buy myself a little ice cream at McDonald's. And I'm like, do I have permission to do that? Am I allowed to drive 20 miles? What would Dad say? He wouldn't want me to use that much gas, and he wouldn't want me to spend any money on ice cream. And then I'm like, you've got the keys, Jenny. Dad's not here. I mean, I was 19. Well, I was 19. I was young, but I was married. And it was weird because I had to think through it really carefully. Like, was I going to be breaking the universe by, going to get myself a little ice cream? And anyway, that's what I did. I drove myself all the way 20 minutes, sat there and did some people watching, got a little ice cream, and then drove myself all the way back home. And I felt very liberated. But that's a small story to kind of show how there are bigger things that the decisions we've made are what are really not liberating us. Not that there aren't big bad things in the world that try to oppress us, and there are many people that have to reckon with those very big things, but people do all the time. Very brave people reckon with those things all the time, and they do it by beginning with how they think and believe inside themselves. So, yeah, start there. And same thing when it comes to peace, which is hand in hand with liberation. Start with yourself. You be peaceful. You see the world peacefully. You make your interactions peaceful and full of liberation, because you can't have peace without liberation. And you can't have true liberation without peace, my opinion. We'll see you later.